Most importantly, I think in terms of marketing is delivering a quality product. It can look really nice. It can look exceptional. If you're marketing well, that might be detrimental even, because then people remember you, but not for the right reasons.
Most firms survive, the best ones scale. Welcome to the Managing Partners Podcast, where law firm leaders learn to think bigger. I'm Kevin Daisy. Let's jump in. What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Managing Partners Podcast. I'm here today chilling with my friend Ben, Faber Law Firm. As always, I get to talk backstage a few minutes with my guest, and I love what Ben brings to the table and what he has to share. So I'm going to have a lot of fun. As always, trying to bring the best topics and guests and what, pain points you all are facing. So always reach out if you have ideas, guests that we should have on the show, topics we should cover. Reach out and let me know, and I'll find the best people I can to cover it. So, Ben, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, introduce yourself real quick. Tell us where you're at and more about your law firm, and then we'll get into some topics about brand and how important that is.
Sure. So my name's Ben Faber. I own Faber Law Firm in Columbia, Missouri. We're right in the middle of the state of Missouri. Practice exclusively criminal defense. It's me, one associate, and some great staff. We're in a college town, so it sort of drives a bit of the business. We're also in the middle of a lot of rural areas. So we practice in about 11 counties in central Missouri, including, the primary caseload's out of Boone County, which is Columbia, where the University of Missouri is, a little more professional, medical, insurance, and college type demographic. But then, of course, we get smaller towns and a lot of the issues and folks that come out of there. I've been practicing
very nice.
13 years now. Things are going pretty okay this week.
The life of an entrepreneur can look good in the morning, not
That's
so
right.
much at the end of the day. Well, I appreciate you sharing that. And it's, we were talking, one of the topics we were going to cover, and you kind of consider that like a mid-sized market. It sounds like it's really spread out, lots of different little areas and pockets, so that can be difficult.
Yeah, it can be. We've got. We want to face our highest value client base, here in Boone County, but we get a lot of great cases from the surrounding areas, and they're different people with different values. They're looking for different things. So, balancing all of that has been always on my mind in terms of branding the law firm.
Yeah. So, let's kind of dive into that. Obviously, I'm huge on branding and niching and culture, and when it comes to law firms or any business. And it's so important, just versus skipping right to, I want the leads, or I want to just, show up in front of people. But take us maybe through a little bit of the process of how you've navigated that, and maybe even when you kind of started to realize and put effort towards that versus kind of just, hey, I started, hung my shingle, and here I am. Kind of what does that life cycle look like?
Well, it all started in my basement when I was teaching myself how to use Adobe Illustrator, trying to figure out what my logo was going to look like at 2 a.m, the night that my former employer told me that she was closing her practice, and that, I decided that this is what I was going to do. From there, we knew we wanted a nice looking product, and that's not terribly difficult to do, if you put some thought into it. Most importantly, I think in terms of marketing is delivering a quality product. It can look really nice. It can look exceptional. And that if you're marketing well, that might be detrimental even if you're not delivering a good product, because then people remember you, but not for the right reasons. So that's always been the most important thing, is just being the best, or attempting to be the best and delivering exceptional results. But At the same time, you want people to remember you. And we get a lot of price shoppers. We get a lot of transplants. We get a lot of people without a lot of my referrals come from Google. It's not direct referrals. We get plenty of direct referrals, things like that, attorney referrals. But a lot of them are people who are shopping. And I'll ask them, where'd you find me? They'll say, on Google. And they'll say, I was impressed by your reviews, right? And so you get good reviews by delivering a good product, but also by being attentive, following up with happy clients you've made a connection with. But when you're out there in a semi-crowded market, which I would describe, Central Missouri as semi-crowded, there's plenty of work, but there's also plenty of competition. You want to stand out. You want to look like the lawyer that people want to hire. The difficult part, the tricky part of that is knowing, and maybe I don't know, but I'm trying to figure it out, what that is.
Yeah, it's everything's your brand. So someone calls up and talks to one of your folks on the phone, how they handle that, how they speak, how they carry themselves reflects on your brand, it reflects on your marketing. So yeah, it's no one ever likes the answer to that. You have to just do a lot of great things and get things right and do good work and show up and all these things. But that's what it takes. That's what these other firms have done. There's no shortcuts to do that. But also to your point, yeah, what is the attorney that they want to hire for the majority, right, of those people in your community? Is it the sharp dressed attorney? Is it the laid back attorney? Is it the one with the biggest case wins, or what is it? So I think understanding your market is very important. But also I think they're looking for authenticity, that you're not coming up with some gimmick or some kind of scheme to try to look like the attorney they want to hire. But honestly, I think the one they want to hire is the one that has great reviews and delivers a good product and follows up. To me, that's the one they should want to hire.
Right. No, and placing yourself in a position to be identified, I think, as that person is the difficult part, right? Because they don't know. You Google, best criminal lawyer, Columbia Mo, right? You're going to get several shiny websites, nice looking lawyers, nice looking suits, little scrolling tidbits from their favorite reviews, 5 stars on Avvo and things like that, or 10. I'm looking over here, 10 points. And then, 5 stars. I don't know what the difference is. Throwing all that stuff out there. And, differentiation can be difficult. You can market yourself as I've seen one that I liked out, I think, like the state of Washington. It was a guy, he said, representing good people charged with DWI. That was his message, as what I'm looking for. Yeah. People who perceive themselves as good people who also have a DWI. Now there's other guys out there, he leans into I'm the guy you call if you're guilty. Cause I'll get you off, right? He wants the people who are desperate, and scared and are looking for the lawyer that will help them in that circumstance. So just figuring out, a lot of it's, and like you said, authenticity is important. Figuring out who you are, and it's like, I guess you could fake it. I guess I could, I could lean into like country lawyer, get some cowboy boots or a bolo tie.
Get you a hat.
Yeah, exactly. Wear a hat. Yes, ma'am. That kind of stuff. And, there's probably a lot of good old boys out there. I know for a fact that some of my competition, that's who they are. That's authentically them. And they connect with those clients. And to be honest, I'm not really competing. I am, but if they meet with me and they meet with them, they like them better, and that's fine, right? They have a better connection. And if I'm faking something like that, then I'm not doing anyone any favors.
Yeah.
So figuring out who you are, like, I think my marketing is professional. I think that, I think that's probably the best way to describe it, is professional and polished. That's what I try to deliver. I feel like the language that I use in my letters, the language that I use when I'm responding to client emails, the way I dress, professional and polished, and it's just all sort of part of the brand, but it's also who I am. So it's easier to leverage when you're not out there, trying to convince people to hire you because of some gimmick.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think, there's a lot of lawyers, laid back, or they show up on here with t-shirt on, they're just hanging out. So there's a lot of newer firms and newer folks, and like, oh, I'm different because I'm not dressed in a suit and all nice and neat. But at the end of the day, people expect a lawyer to be put together. They expect them to, have clean, concise communication and letters, and know how to draft an email and things like that. So I think there's a place for all of it. And I think back to a point like where you can Google and find 10 other people that have also done everything that looks right. So there's stiff competition. You can't just get away with not doing good work, that's for sure. Like, you definitely have to be on your game these days, and everyone's putting the right things in place. So, your brand, your personal brand, how you stand out that's your differentiator, right? Because they might go to the cowboy guys, and I got some clients like that are good old boys, but they might not like that. They might, then they come to you. So everyone has the ability to have a place in the market. But back to Ben's point, you have to do really good work. You have to follow up. You have to get the reviews. You have to do a lot of crap to just be at a basic level these days.
Yeah, and you want to do both, or maybe you don't, right? I want to do both.
I'm the 1-star lawyer. Call me.
Well, what I'm getting at, I guess, is like I'm thinking of someone specific. One of the more skilled lawyers that I know, who does a great job. His clients love him. Everything about him is excellent. He doesn't really market that much. And that's fine with him. He's not trying to grow his law firm. He's a little bit older than I am, just for example. And he gets good cases, and he has the caseload that he wants, and that's great. But for me, I want to grow my firm. I want to bring in more business and hire more lawyers and all of that. So finding a way to be out there and executing on lead generation, it's important. And I think marketing's really the only way to effective marketing is really the only way to increase that, especially when you have competition.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, and on the other hand, I forgot that that was only half my point. On the other hand, you can, but this guy's talent and skill is what he has to offer as his brand. And that's fine. If you know who he is, then you're going to go to him. Or if you know somebody who used him, then you're probably going to go to him. On the other hand, you can have very effective marketing and have tons of calls coming in, and have people answering the phone and following up and taking money, right? Converting, maybe it's a lower conversion rate, but your leads are, 5 times what I'm getting or something, but you're not executing on the product. You're not delivering good results. You're not establishing yourself as a premier lawyer in the community. Your clients might be happy, but that only goes so far if you're bullshitting them, telling them that you got them a good deal when you're not. Eventually, if you're building a house of cards, it's going to fall. So supporting your brand with the product is, it's super critical.
100%. 100%. I was going to say, I know a lot of firms that just they don't want to grow. They're comfortable, and that's totally fine. Most people on this show that listen to the show, they're trying to grow. They're trying to expand. They're trying to maybe not trying to be the biggest firm in the world, but they want to move ahead, move forward. If you're doing that, you need to do those things right. You need to take care of the clients, put the good work product out, get the good results. So it comes down to, there's a lot of stuff you have to do right. And then if you're doing that piece and then you turn the marketing on and you find channels that work for your market and your area, it's magical what can happen. And then growing, scaling, it becomes much easier. We were also talking about, I know you're big on hiring, and so am I. Your brand, how your firm operates, how it handles its clients and customers definitely impacts your hiring capability. Because people don't want to work at a firm that's like a marketing machine, but does shit work or doesn't follow with the clients, because they're not going to stay because they're going to feel bad about what's being done. So, and if you got a great brand in your market, much easier because other people have heard of you, paralegals, associates. Oh man, I really want to work for Ben Faber. Like, as soon as he's hiring, like, I'm ready to go. So, the brand and the things that you're doing is helping on all aspects of your company, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and it dovetails right back into what you were saying before, where, if you're hiring anybody, right? Anybody and everybody, if you're trying, if all you're looking for is growth, then that house of cards is going to fall. You gotta find good people, who are interested in delivering the same product, like being successful in the way that you value success with integrity. You know that you're doing the best job for these people that you possibly can. You want someone else who will do that, who's not just there to get a paycheck, or who's not just there to, get more billables so they can get more salary, so that they can be a partner, so that they can, make more money, right? Like, that's all great. That'll happen. But finding the best people that share that like mission, right, is super important. And that can be difficult because those people are valuable. So like you were saying, having a reputation, that's probably the most valuable thing you have. These old heads, they're like, that's all you need. You don't need a website. You just need a reputation. Now people are like Googling lawyers with a good reputation, so it doesn't really, you kind of need both.
Yeah. Google's not like ChatGPT. You can just ask it questions and it'll, it's acting just like that. So the way we search is changing.
That's a whole new area that I'm I'm not giving it any energy. But we're getting a few now where we say, how'd you find us? And they say, ChatGPT or Grok or, Claude, or whatever. And that seems to be happening naturally, which is good.
Because of reputation. It's because of reputation. And,
and
because of
right?
existing SEO, reviews, branding. Yeah. People get mentioned by those platforms that haven't put effort into their presence.
I think so. Yeah, I hope so. And the other part of hiring too, like my new hire, her name's Nicole, a friend of mine who I've been, practicing law, like a colleague, right? A longtime colleague. I call him for help on matters that are outside of my practice area. He called me for help on matters that, may have been new or complex, or just otherwise just wanted someone to bounce ideas off of. He's transitioning into something different, and he had an employee, and, over just like by being out there, being in the community. And that's another part we haven't really talked about, like community-based marketing, just being involved, being friendly, being around. He called me and he said, hey, I'm transitioning. I need somewhere for my associate to land. I only thought of you. Right. And so like, some of that's luck, but it's also just because I think, the community-based marketing, also known as not being an asshole, can really pay off, in special ways.
Yeah. And he knew she was going to go to a good place and has the same values as you. So a couple different points there, you can market your way to get in tons of leads and do a shit job, right? And still maybe have some success for a while. But if you never invest in the community, you don't show up, you're not really investing and building that, those deep relationships, then you're missing a big part. So yeah, you can just market your way, not be part of the community, not do great work. It's a house of cards, to your point. It's not going to last. And when you do all those things, then you're really building something. And that's when people go, I can't compete with Ben Faber. Like, well, Ben's done the work. He's spent the time. He's done all the things. So yeah, it's hard to compete and replicate that unless you start doing all these things right. So it's not the answer people want to hear, but if you want a plan, strategy, then that's what you got to start figuring out. Okay, how can we start to accomplish these things? And it's not overnight. That's for sure.
It's not overnight. It's not easy.
It's definitely not.
It's hard. It's really hard. I think most lawyers who are interested and capable of doing good work are also capable of competing, and being successful in terms of caseload and high value clients and things like that. It doesn't take like a lot of talent. I'm not skilled in coaching baseball. I'm not skilled in advertising. I'm not skilled in website design or SEO or graphic design, or copywriting or anything like that. But if you put a little bit of attention into everything that you do and all the people who need it and all the people who ask for it, whether it's being kind to law clerks or not law clerks, court clerks, being kind to security at courthouses, being kind to your mailman or the people who deliver you food, or chatting with your plumber, right?
Put your grocery cart back.
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. People, if that guy's out there, wee you, and I'm on there and the wrong person picks it up and redoes it. I mean, it could all come crashing down to, one bad moment. We've seen it, we saw it. Don't cheat on your wife, right? That'll hurt. Don't be, don't be an asshole. Get out there and do the right thing. And if someone asks you for $100 for their Boy Scout, Eagle Scout project or something like that, give it to them. It pays off just paying attention to everything. And that includes that's inside and outside of your business, right?
Yeah. It's hard. It's a lot of people who live in our business sometimes and don't get out to think about the rest of the community that we're in. So I love it. So don't be an asshole, everyone. That's the lesson today. But I love it. It makes it simple to wrap your head around it, right? And then, back to the hiring part, me and Ben were chatting and others, like almost all my team comes from referrals from my team. And if you have a good team that believes in what you believe in, has integrity, whatever it is, you're basically asking them, who do they want to work with? And if they have someone that, I got a great friend, they're not going to want someone to come into the organization that they don't want to work with. So, but if you, build a good culture, have a good brand, and people will line up. A lot of attorneys are having problems with finding people, but if you do the things that Ben's doing and what we're talking about, it definitely gets easier. It's never easy just to find people or to hire people, but it'll make it better. That's for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think exactly like you said, it's not easy. It's a challenge. It's hiring is my least favorite thing. I dread it the most. Putting the time in to meeting with people and then you end up connecting with a few of them, and then you got to be the guy that, picks one. And then you got to train that person and you might have been wrong. I mean, it's terrible, but sometimes it really pays off. I mean, I have a legal assistant who's been with me since pretty much day one. So gosh, almost 9 years, something like that. 8-9 years.
Yeah.
And then I've got another one. I think we're on like year 3 or 4, and that's really the core team, right? And then we cycle in law clerks and interns. Being in a college town, we go to law school here, so they come for 3 semesters, 4 semesters, something like that.
Nice.
And, then move on, to back to St. Louis or Kansas City or Chicago or whatever, and get a job. Even though I'm like, Columbia's great, come work for me. That's another challenge, right?
Stay here
when you're competing with their, bigger metropolitan areas. And these people who are critical to like my success, like they're bought in. They don't come in late. They don't skip work. They know that what we do is important. They know that we've got a lot of people that rely on this office, not just me, the office as a whole, to get them through this time in their life, and they're bought in, and it's super important.
Well, Ben, I appreciate you sharing your story and your thoughts and stuff, what you're doing in your market. And I think it's just a great real talk, right? It's folks out there trying to grow their firms in a different market or a mid-sized market, or trying to figure things out. And real talk with Ben Faber. Don't be an asshole, and things will go a lot better for you across the board.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, what's the best way for folks to connect with you, find you online?
Google me.
Website, LinkedIn.
Yeah, Google me. Ben Faber, ComoCriminalDefense.com. So it's for Columbia, Missouri. Counties sometimes call it Como. ComoCriminalDefense.com. I'm on Twitter. I've got a LinkedIn. Not terribly active on those platforms, but I'm around, and we service, like I said, about 11 counties in central Missouri. So, if it's not St. Louis or Kansas City, we probably go there.
Nice. Good. Yeah. Any lawyers listening that, criminal defense attorney having referrals or situations with clients, please connect with Ben. And, of course, if you're watching this, leave a comment. If you want to connect with Ben directly, I'm happy to make the introduction. And if he's not on LinkedIn a lot, he will be once this episode drops. So we'll see. See you out there. So, well,
maybe you
Ben,
can help me.
Yeah, we'll just post for you. Well, thanks so much for sharing. I love the story. I love the simplicity and some of the concepts we talked about. And he's 100% right. So I hope you found it helpful. And we'll see you on the next episode. Ben, say goodbye to everyone.
Goodbye, everyone. And thanks a lot, Kevin, for having me on. I appreciate it.
100%, man. Love it. I'll see you in backstage. See you all. Have a good day.